Hi, my name is Adity Mayer, and I'm a sustainable fashion blogger, photojournalist, and labor rights activist based out of Los Angeles. Today, my first question for you to the Ganni team is about scale. Scale is a key part of the sustainable fashion question because it's often scale that is contributing to a fashion model that is predicated on speed at all costs. So how is Ganni addressing scale in its own fashion supply chain and its sustainability goals?
Hi Aditi, I'm Bartley and I head up responsibility at Ganni. Thank you so much for your question. I think firstly the pandemic made us rethink the way that we do business in a number of ways. The first being the way that we produce our clothes and the frequency of that production. So what we have decided to do is to move away from the traditional fashion calendar, which is typically 4 main collections a year, into a smaller and more frequent drop structure, which is also less seasonal. And by doing that, hopefully we can get production closer to demand, which will hopefully reduce wastage. It's a little bit too early to say what the results would be, but we're pretty hopeful that it's going to have a positive effect. Secondly, we also want to work with more unsold clothing or unused fabric. And so we're ensuring that upcycling or reworking collections or past season pieces is a key feature in our collections moving forward. And then thirdly, we're also looking into new business models. So like extending our Ganni repeat rental service and also venturing into the resale market, hopefully by the end of 2021 as a trial. And then also alongside that, looking at offering services that extend the life cycle of clothing. So last year, for example, we launched a repairs and customization station. That's something that we're hoping to roll out further over the coming months and years.
Next, can you talk a little bit about your labor practices on your supply chain?
So fashion supply chains are historically long and complex, and there's a huge issue with gathering data across the whole industry. So we started in 2020 a supply chain traceability project, where essentially we're trying to obtain geographical information of our supply chain. And I'm really pleased to say that in our latest collection, we have 100% supply chain traceability on stages or tiers 1 to 4 of the supply chain, which essentially means that we know the geographical makeup of everything up until the raw material level, which is next on our agenda to tackle. The reason to focus on transparency first is that we cannot improve the social responsibility in the supply chain if we do not know where the clothes are being produced past tier 1. So typically that tier 1 or stage 1 is where you have the most visibility and also that contractual relationship. But we also need to move past tier 1 and down into the supply chain. So on average, a typical collection is looking at 140 different suppliers across those 4 stages that I just mentioned. And I'm also really pleased to say that we've just hired into the team a new employee who will work full-time on social responsibility in the supply chain, so we can really advance this work at a much quicker speed.
Ganni has gained cult popularity for its bright, bold aesthetic. Can you talk about the pace at which you release your collections?
So as a fashion brand, we really recognise that we have a moral obligation not to always glorify newness, which is why we also work with past season collections and also collaborate with people like Alawalia, for example, on upcycled, repurposed and reworked collections. We also have our postmodern stores where we sell archive pieces, and it's something that we feel really strongly about, and we're really trying to challenge ourselves as well to work with existing product or existing fabrics and really get creative and see how we can work with them in the future. And I think what's really important for Ganni is that we offer these solutions or these alternatives to our consumers. And like I mentioned earlier, products and services that extend the life cycle of clothing, like repairs, is going to be really important for us in the future, alongside garment care, resale, and other business models that promote circularity within the industry.